All right, so yesterday I was walking around and I needed to get some new clothes. So I was walking around through Brooklyn mainly, and I came across the store. Long story short, um, I got this new hoodie as a gift, and I picked out the hoodie. The person who ended up giving this to me as a gift was actually he wanted to give me a different one, but I was like, no, I got to get this one. And there are a lot of reasons why I picked this hoodie. Number one, the design is really cool. Whoever made this, they did a good job. Great artist. I like it. The hoodie's a little big, as you can see here, but it's cotton though, so it'll shrink in the wash. Anyway, so I picked this thing up, and I think it holds a lot of sentimental value, and I think that people would look at this and be like, well, that's kind of controversial or whatever. I'm not affiliated with any sort of rappers or gangs or anything like that, but there's a reason why I picked this thing up, and there are a lot of stories behind why I could say that I did. One of the reasons was that I I was in California, and at the time, I did have an opportunity to meet some rappers. I was trying to get in touch with some rappers or whatever, and so I had no idea who this guy was at the time. I came from a good home, educated in private school, all this stuff, but I went out pretty much as an entrepreneur, and I decided that I was going to go to California um, to get involved in like the tech world. I don't have any real programming skills, anything like that. Like I know a little programming, but not really. It was just something that it was an idea I had, and I just kind of ran with it. But back to the story. So long story short, I had an opportunity to meet this guy, and I actually turned the opportunity down um, because I didn't know who he was. Did some research, found out that sort of you know, it's I didn't necessarily want to get involved in like the Los Angeles scene down there. Not necessarily like like throwing any type of disrespect out there. Just saying that I just wanted to stay safe. And I found out who he was and what he stood for, and I said to myself, "This guy is a real deal." And I immediately regretted not taking the opportunity. So I looked at what he stood for, and I actually agreed with a lot of the things that he said that he stood for. He didn't stand for violence. He stood for progress, especially like within the African American communities. And just for the record, right now, at this moment in time, I am almost dead broke. And so when I received this hoodie as a gift, it meant a lot to me. Um, but I was kind of embarrassed, and because this guy was like, I'm not going to charge you. Don't worry about it. And I'm the type of person that I like to pay for my stuff. So I didn't have a whole lot of pride in the fact that it was a gift. I would have preferred to pay for it, but if he said, I'm going to give it to you, then that was great by me. Um, so I'm a pretty intelligent guy. I'm not the smartest guy in the world or in the country by any means, but I'm decently intelligent, and the struggle that I've been having is finding a livable wage and a decent job to survive under. So that was one of the reasons I was embarrassed, is because I was thinking, well, I mean, I had a little money, but not enough money for me to pay this guy and be comfortable. So I said to myself, this is totally embarrassing. Anyway, So the reason why this hoodie holds a lot of sentimental value to me is because, again, this guy stood for progress. Everybody probably knows who he is by now. Um, and again, it's a great design on the hoodie. Um, so my family has been here in the U.S. for a long time. And there are so many stories that go back generations about how, you know, they get screwed over or whatever. So for me, just based on like Nipsey's rhetoric, what he stood for, it really held with me after I found out who he really was, what he stood for, and those things. Um, I am the type of guy that went to military college, uh, and there were certain incidences that took place. And I think most people would look at me and say, "Well, you should stay quiet on this because you don't come from that world." And that's true. I don't. I'm not affiliated with any sort of gangs or anything like that. Um, I went to private school. I came from a good family, good home, and all that stuff. But there are certain experiences that I've had in life in which I've said, well, it hits me too. Certain situations where unfair occurrences happen and just being like sort of put down by the system. I don't live that lifestyle. I don't live a lifestyle where I say, I'm going to go out and rob someone or kill anyone or anything like that. What I saw in Nipsey was that he represented good business practices and standing up for what he believed were his people. So I came from a place where uh, people who were of African American descent were uh, beaten down. And, I'll talk about more of these stories later on. But when Nipsey passed, when he was killed, it was a shock to me. It felt like almost like an attack in a way, especially like uh, when he tweeted right before, he said, having powerful enemies is a blessing. And the reason why this really struck me was because it didn't seem like something that just happened. It didn't seem like something that was incidental. It seemed like he knew what was coming. And I think that that should be acknowledged. It's not something that should just be ignored. This guy was an intelligent guy. He ran a small business, but if you look at his backstory and like how his family described him, he was a good guy. I would have been honored to know him. Um, so yeah, for me, it just felt like one of those instances where uh, he was under attack. He was under attack. His people felt under attack. His community felt under attack. And I've been there. And so I wear this shirt because I'm not from California. I wear this shirt because of what he stood for and the fact that, if I were to go back on the West Coast, which I plan to, people can feel this stuff. And I think that, I want to honor his legacy by saying, well, you know, strive forward. I mean, it's almost as simple as that. Progress. That's the main goal. And nobody wants to die. Nobody. But he He put his life on the line for it. You can hear it in his music and everything. I didn't even know the guy. I listened to other artists, but um, the last two songs that he came out with, I listened to a lot. And sometimes I'll just listen to it like when I'm in my room by myself, or like, I don't want anybody to bother me, but I'll put the headphones in, I'll listen to it. And I think that again really speaks to who he was. Like in his song Victory Lap, he wanted it to be like even in death, I'm still winning. And for me, there's just a lot of pride in that. So, right now, I myself am kind of down and out. I don't have a whole lot of money, but I'm a decently intelligent guy. And yeah, I wear this hoodie because of the experiences I've had in life. And on the bottom there it says hustle. And I don't want to discredit the guy or put any disrespect on him or anything like that. But I definitely wanted to talk about the fact that I got this new hoodie, and I plan on making sure that it fits, number one, and wearing it around. Um, I've been all over the country, and there have been situations where I've been treated bad. There have been situations where I've seen other people treated bad, and I think that the way things are going during these times, it's crazy. It's like there's so much. It seems like there's racism everywhere, and I don't like that. If it were up to me, everyone would get along. That's how I feel it should be. Um, but there have been certain times where the opposite has proven true. And he was the kind of guy who was how do you say, Pan African. Like he was from Africa, and he believed in basically not only uniting Africans, or African Americans, African descendant people, but even other people of other minorities. A lot of people, whether they be Hispanic or whatever, they they looked up to him as a leader and kind of a role model, especially people that come from low income backgrounds, poverty, people who feel like they don't have a choice except for to adopt this sort of gang lifestyle and honor that history. You know, I think that what he represented, he described himself as a radical. I remember that, and I'm not going to take anything away from what he said, but I think that's important to acknowledge, because anyone, when they're pushed to a certain point, you know, they become like let's say a political activist, activist. Like if you look at the Black Panthers, if you look at people like Julian Assange, they would be considered radicals. Now, that's not necessarily 100% true, but it's important to realize, there are all these people that are supposedly rising up and they're saying, well, we stand against tyranny, this and that. And, we do have freedom of speech in this country, but, stuff like this happens in other countries too. And it's important to stand up for yourself. And I think that's really what he did. I think if you get to the bottom line, that's really what he represented, was standing up for yourself, being an intelligent person, being a successful hustler, a business person, whether it be small or big. I prefer it to be on a large scale, and I think he would agree with that. He had a small business. It was the Marathon clothing store, but he was also a rapper. He's in the music industry. He was an entertainer, and he found success. He toured the world. He made money, and his thing was that, even in death, my legacy will live on. So today, I got this hoodie, and I appreciate it. I'm honoring his legacy because to me, that's what he represents. So again, right now, I'm kind of in a situation where I'm down. I'm not completely out, but I'm figuring it out slowly but surely. And I wear this because it sort of represents where I want to go and the type of mentality that I want to embody. Not the gang mentality, but standing up for myself, standing up for uh, what we believe is right, and moving in the direction of success, no matter what, even in the face of all obstacles. So that's just my 2 cents on it. I feel pretty strongly about this. I want to talk about some other things, but I'm not going to include them in this video. Um, Definitely subscribe to my channel for more content. Hopefully, I can get a better camera and start editing pretty soon. But I'm going to talk about some stories that I've experienced over my life. And I'm also going to talk about, just what I go through day to day, because some of the stuff is pretty interesting. Talking to people here, talking to people there, learning about different things that I can do, whether it be like in business or whatever. Right now, I'm researching a lot about banking and stuff, whether it be domestic or abroad. And yeah, definitely drop some comments, some likes. Let me know what you guys think. Um, even if you don't necessarily like it, just let me know. I'm definitely open to discussion. I'm all about uh, progress, you know, peace first, and moving forward for economic success, both here and potentially abroad. So, yeah. All right.